Hey everybody, welcome back to another Dead by Daylight video. So today I wanted to talk about a specific subject of content creators leaving Dead by Daylight. This was brought on by many of you have probably seen recently, a video by Slushy, who was a prominent Dead by Daylight streamer and YouTuber, etc., etc. She made a video basically outlining her reasons for leaving, why she's leaving, and all of these things. Now, there is some kind of things that are wrong with this. She did come back for an event, from what I understand, but I'm not going to get into specifics of that. What I do want to get into is this idea of Dead by Daylight creators leaving, because this isn't the first time we've seen this happen. We've had many cases of Dead by Daylight, very prominent Dead by Daylight creators making videos or on stream or making Twitter posts, etc., basically proclaiming they're leaving or they're going to take a break for like an extended period of time. Now, the only reason I bring this up is because I just want to say that as someone who's been in a lot of gaming communities over the years, this is perfectly normal, and I don't know why as Dead by Daylight people, we freak out every time it happens. Once again, more power to Slushy, or Dowsy, or Jay, or any of these other people who move on to other avenues. More power to them. What I will say is this idea that someone has to constantly play one game and one game only forever, and that's all they ever do, is just insane to me. Something Dead by Daylight doesn't have that a lot of other games have is what I call the content creator generations. League of Legends had it. There was about 3 or 4 at the beginning, and then those 3 or 4 prominent ones kind of went away, and then 3 more took their place, and then they went away after about 3 or 4 years, and then 3 more took their place, and it's been like that for a while. Apex had it. I've seen it for Overwatch. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still some of the OGs, of course, but for the most part, things shift, people leave and go move on to other games, other avenues of their life. It's just how things work. Dead by Daylight's in this weird situation in case where people like leaving is like seen as like this huge big deal and like, oh, the game is dying. Listen, in Slushy's video, she straight up says, I have been playing the game for so long that I know everything. There's nothing else to learn. Why would I keep playing? And that's a valuable point. Why would she keep playing if there's nothing more for her to experience or do other than by obligation? Why would she play the game? And I think it's something we're seeing from other Dead by Daylight creators. I think the big difference with Dead by Daylight is that there's nowhere else for these people to go. Nothing against Slushy or Dowsy or Jay. They will find their footing, especially Slushy. But even like Jay and Dowsy, from what I understand, have found their footing since then. And that's fine. It's perfectly natural. But Dead by Daylight doesn't have anywhere for these people really to go. Apex is a good example. You can switch from Apex to Valorant and probably still do okay as far as the content creation thing goes. It's a very similar niche. It's still a first-person shooter at the end of the day. It is a different game, but, you know, similar niche. You can switch to Overwatch. You can switch to Fortnite. Like, there's a lot of games that, like, fall into that specific genre. Fighting game players who leave, like, a certain game after a long time, they have other fighting games to move on to. But Dead by Daylight doesn't really have anywhere for us to go. There's nowhere for the Dead by Daylight refugees to move to. And I think that's the bigger problem and why people make such a big deal about leaving this game. I do want to talk about some of her points, though, while we're at this, and just proclaiming this is perfectly normal and natural for creators to move on to other things. The idea of a creator sticking with the same game for more than like 3 or 4 years is kind of insane when you think about it. Don't get me wrong, some people can do it. I've done it, but like you can't expect that from people, especially without taking any extended breaks of any kind. I've taken breaks from Dead by Daylight. I've taken like 6 months breaks from this game. I moved over to VHS for a little bit. I've been playing Destiny 2 a lot, Deep Rock Galactic. I've been taking breaks from this game for a while, so that's why I'm not as burnt out on the game as I could be. But then again, I main a killer also, so that helps, as we've heard in the Killer podcast, because it gives me another thing to strive for, being better with that specific character. But if you don't have anything like that, no goals or anything, there's nothing really to do. We'll just play the game for the sake of it being fun. After about 10,000 hours of playing a game, you're probably not going to find much fun in it. Just saying. But, yeah, one of the other points that she brought up that I do want to mention is the idea of the skill floor being lowered too much. I do agree with this to an extent. I think some of the techs quote-unquote techs and exploits do need to be removed. I can't think of any at the top of my head. But the ones that, like, are skill expressive... Because here's the thing with the whole it's an exploit argument. And a friend of the channel, Kaiser, has brought this up before. Just because it's an exploit not intended doesn't mean it's not a tech. Doesn't mean it should be completely eradicated from the game. Rocket jumps were an exploit based on the movement system. That is a staple of gaming now. Like, it's just insane to me. That's like the biggest example I can think of, right? But when you get rid of these exploits and text, you're basically getting rid of skill expression. When you get rid of skill expression, then people don't feel like they're learning or actually getting better at a character. Don't get me wrong, there's a difference between a good blight and a bad blight, for sure. But once you hit that peak, which is much easier to hit now because there is no text, well, good luck showing your skill. Getting rid of that stuff also, like, gets rid of identities of characters, and you... Anyway, this is going on to a whole other topic. All I'm trying to say is content creators leaving the game is perfectly normal and natural, and I wish we would all stop freaking out every time it happens. And to any content creators that are listening, if you're thinking about leaving the game, fine, leave the game. You guys will be fine. The game will be here when you want to come back. It's perfectly okay. If your community can't accept that, they weren't there for you, they were there for the game, and I hate to say it, it's not the kind of community that you want. In any case, I love y'all. Let me know what y'all think. Have a good one, and yeah, bye.
Subscribe, damn it. I'll be back. I always come back, and so should you, you moron.